George 8, George 6. Respond to 28400 Alpine Way, cross of Alpine Ridge Road and Black Butte Road in Shingletown. To open incomplete 911 from the residents with banging sounds heard. Can hear someone sobbing or crying. And information on the earlier DV at this location back in April, there were 2 juveniles that were also at the residence. 127, are they confirmed 1144?
A man suspected of killing his wife and 2 young daughters still on the loose tonight. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mike Mangus.
I'm Jennifer Scarborough. Shane Miller is suspected of murdering his wife and his 8-year-old and 4-year-old daughters in Shingletown Tuesday night, shooting each of them multiple times. As a mother, you hear about somebody murdering their children and their wife in such a horrific fashion, and such young children. It is almost unimaginable. You know, it's part of my job to, try and maintain composure and not be too emotional and not get emotionally involved in the stories that I'm telling, but when you have a story like that, it is next to impossible. For the very first time, we're getting a look at Shasta Miller and Shelby Miller, 4 and 8 years old at the time that they were killed. When I see those pictures of those sweet little girls, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine the monster that did this, and I can't imagine what she went through, and I can't imagine that we couldn't help.
A woman who allegedly died at the hands of her husband did in fact seek help. Now, we are told tonight that Sandy Miller went to the shelter 2 weeks before she and her 2 daughters were murdered.
We had tried to help her get into shelter. This had been going on for some time, and she'd finally kind of made the decision to leave. But when she came, she was very scared. She had her 2 girls, she had her dog. We offered her shelter. We were crowded. We hold 26 women and children, but that's in 3 bedrooms. So you can imagine what that would feel like in your home. She declined to come in because she needed privacy and quiet, and we can understand that. All the women that come into our shelter need that.
When a domestic violence victim is trying to break free from the cycle of violence, leave the home where the domestic violence is occurring, we often see a situation where there's an imbalance of power. And that imbalance of power can occur in many ways, including financially. So it's often that the victim has nowhere to go, no money, no resources, and they're forced to return to the home where the batterer is staying. And that means nothing but trouble for the victim, for the children. So it's important for us in this community to have a place where victims of domestic violence and their children and their pets can go and be safe, and they can have time to escape that cycle of violence when it's most critical.
Well, Redding's got a bad rap the last year or two. You may have heard. There's been a couple of national news articles out there about us, one calling us one of the most dangerous cities in America for women, and more recently a Time article that came out and said that we had one of the fastest rising crime rates in the country. So that isn't a positive thing. The increase in crime rates may be attributed to an increase in reporting of crimes like domestic violence due to the efforts of law enforcement and those in victim support. Regardless of the reasons for the increases, the fact remains Shasta County has the highest per capita incidences of rape and domestic violence of all counties in California.
I was in nursing for 30 years, and the majority of my staff were female because of the nursing profession. And because of that, I was exposed to what happens in the workplace when we have staff who are victims of domestic violence.
Victims seek refuge and support services at One Safe Place. It is the only organization in the county that provides shelter and support services for domestic and sexual abuse victims. A
A victim requires 60 to 90 days of treatment and support to have the highest probability of successful transition to a peaceful existence and self-sufficiency. At present, 80% of victims leave the shelter before 20 days. 60% leave by the 10th day. 10% exit before even spending one night.
It's a 30-day shelter that we have right now, and it can only house women. And we started to do research, and we found that until women stay there nearly at least 60 days, they don't begin to make a change. And then when we looked at how long women stayed in our shelter, it was an average of 12 days. So we knew we needed to make a change.
The Board of Directors has launched the One Safe Place Capital campaign to raise $5 million to create a space that expands the shelter and includes client services under one roof. The design for the new shelter features 14 sleeping rooms for individuals and families, so they have privacy and space to collect their lives. The maximum capacity for sleeping will increase from 26 to more than 60 people. By creating more space and including support services under one roof, One Safe Place will provide help, hope, and healing to hundreds more women, children, and men each year who find themselves in crisis.
What we needed was to have a private room for every person, every family that comes, whether they're male or female, with their children, to stay in the shelter so they can have that privacy that's needed. So that was another goal we set, was to serve men, to have women be able to stay longer. Our new facility will allow them to stay up to 90 days. We can do more if we want. We can serve 60 plus people instead of the 26 that we serve now. We are so excited about the changes that we'll make, because we know that this issue is a significant issue in this community, and we want to make a difference. We want to be part of the whole community, the rescue mission, Health and Human Services, all the other people that Reading Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, who are working on to reduce our crime rate and to help our families. We can make a difference once we have this shelter.
Shasta County is a beautiful place of breathtaking views and kind, caring people. Your gift in support of this campaign is more than a gift in support of the One Safe Place mission. Your gift will help change the landscape of this community and set the course to make a beautiful place a safer place. One safe place. One safe community.
And I really see the idea of building this state-of-the-art shelter as something that can show the rest of the country and the rest of the world what kind of community this really is. That we're not going to let ourselves just be known as the most dangerous city in America for women, or one of the places with the fastest rising crime rate in the country. We're better than that. We take these things seriously. We want to take care of women and children in our community. We want this to be a safe place, and we're willing to invest our dollars to prove to this community and to the entire world that we mean it. It's a chance for us to stand up together. This community is so generous and so giving, and we'll step up to do whatever it needs to be done. That's the foundation Reading is based in. We see something wrong and we make it right. That's what we do.